plane crashes, deaths, and psychology on this episode of Taking Off. Hi, I'm Dan Milliken. The biggest news the last couple days in aviation is the TBM crash near Buffalo by a famous lawyer. I'll get to that in a moment, but first let's deal with some channel housekeeping. As many of you know, Christy was laid off right as she was crossing the finish line of her dream, flying for the airlines. But she's doing good, as she mentioned in her last video. She's still flying almost every day, which for some that have been affected isn't always a possibility, so she's grateful. She's been blown away by the outpouring of support you guys have given. We really appreciate you and your support. And for the tens of thousands that have lost their jobs, their insurance, their livelihoods, thoughts are with you and hope for a speedy recovery. Now, some of you have written that you'd like to get a Taking Off t-shirt, and I'd quickly run out last time. I did just receive a new shipment, but I only ordered 48. I'm bootstrapping this myself because I wanted the higher quality t-shirts than what those YouTube vendor partners offer. So I'm fronting the cash, hoping to not lose, well, my shirt on this. Full transparency, I need about a dozen more sold before I break even. So if you want to help, please go to the store, the link below. Also, we've entered a contest internally with Flying Eyes. We're one of several partners who are endorsing the popular aviation sunglasses. Heading into this fourth quarter, we're going to try and beat the YouTube juggernauts like Josh Flowers, which is okay. He probably doesn't watch this video anyway. Don't tell him. So here's how we win, is by getting the most referral sales from our 10% discount code, Taking Off, all caps, one word. So if you're going to buy these glasses, please use Taking Off, even if you watch Josh's videos. Remember, you're going to need those Christmas gifts for the aviators in your family. Okay, housekeeping complete. Now, that one-a-day fatal airplane crash rate we were on in September hasn't really gotten any better. I think the number one question on the forums and the social media about this is simply why? Is it training? Planes too sophisticated? Weather? Well, it's not weather, and it's not mechanical issues for the most part. It's boiling down to pilot error over and over. But that would point to training. Personally, and I might stand alone on this, to get in a space where training is effective, you have to have the right mindset. And I think we've lost our way on mindset. So yes, I could rant on about better and more effective training, and I still might. But I'd first and foremost preach that you need the right mindset, a learning mindset, a humble mindset. Disagree? Well, leave me a comment. And on to more news. Sunday, October 4th in Montrose, Colorado. An airplane experienced what witnesses claimed as a mechanical failure while flying over the lake before it landed on the side of the road there. The plane hit the dirt and came to rest just beside the highway and caught fire. It appears the plane is a Cessna 210, like the one I fly, and had a husband and wife on board. The two were pulled from the burning wreckage by as many as 20 people that rushed to save them, and then airlifted to the nearby hospital. Of those 20, one was a doctor, another an ER nurse, and 2 physician assistants. Others helped stop the fire from spreading to the adjacent forest. I have to say, you people in Montrose are amazing. If I ever crash, I hope it's near people like you. We're about to cover the big news, the TBM crash, but hang on, I have one more story I'd like to cover. A couple of weeks ago, GoPro released their latest hero action camera, the Hero 9. Now, like most, I love how the company created a new market back when it started. And like so many pioneering companies, they lost their way as others caught up and surpassed. You listening, Apple? GoPro has been hurting and hurting bad. Hey, look, for our flying videos, I made the move towards the DJI action cameras and have about an equal number of both action and GoPro. In my company, my video company here, we use a lot of different ones for different things. So I've had every model of GoPro. And when the Hero 6 came out, it was slightly improved over the 5. The 7 was slightly improved over the 6. The 8 was, well, you get the idea. I have to tell you, after a couple of weeks of getting my Hero 9, I've been blown away. This is the camera that could put GoPro back in the game. Sure, they finally put a forward-facing screen like the DJI has, but the image sensor is 20 megapixels, which is a huge thing for me as a professional in film and video. The battery lasts longer than any of the others. Voice command to start recording. It works better with the app while sitting in the cockpit trying to start it when it's outside the plane. So take it from someone who uses all sorts of cameras and not a GoPro homie, this is a great camera. And if you're about to buy a small action camera, my first choice would be the Hero 9. Second would be the DJI Action. And if money is a large part of your decision making, the Action actually is a lot less. So that's my quick product review. Okay, look, everyone's been talking about the Socata TBM crash the other day near Buffalo. A very prominent lawyer piloting his own craft with his adult niece on board. The Socata TBM is an amazing single-engine plane powered by the extremely reliable and powerful Pratt & Whitney PT6 turboprop engine. By now, you might have even heard the ATC recordings. To quickly recap in case you don't know, the lawyer was flying at 28,000 feet on an IFR flight plan. He was out of communication for about a half an hour. Various ATC locations tried to raise him. Finally, he responded. At that point, I'm thinking hypoxia. But his response is very coherent. There was no hypoxia going on. And at this point, he's almost on top of his destination. So he pointed the nose toward the earth and something came off the plane. Flight data radar shows he was well past the max speed for the airframe. Lots wrong here. And our friend Juan Brown at Blanco Liria has a great video on that. Also, you can listen to the recording of the ATC at Vast Aviation. Links are popping up. Side note, as I've seen some really inappropriate posts on social media about an injury lawyer dying and what's the big deal, besides that being downright mean and ugly, you need to keep something in mind. Our insurance rates are skyrocketing. Yes, because of crashes, but also because of huge lawsuits, and ones that, in my opinion, are extremely frivolous, like when the co-pilot families of the Atlas crash sued the company when he was the one to blame for the crash. And if a suit gets filed against the heroes of ATC that were working the other day over the skies in upstate New York, then it's a travesty. And let's face it, when an attorney is involved in an accident, more lawsuits are generated. Let's hope that's not the case here. I'm tired of no one taking responsibility and instead trying to place blame everywhere else and on everyone else, trying to squeeze as much money as they can out of a tragedy. If the 767 flies exactly like it's supposed to, but you pointed at the ground, it's not Boeing's fault. And if the TBM did what it said it would do and you exceed the structural limits of the aircraft, Socata is not at fault. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Now, for those not IFR knowledgeable, when you fly by instrument rules, which you have to for anything over 18,000 feet, you have standard climbs, turns, and descent rates. A quick way to look at the altitude you need to lose is to multiply by 3. And let me explain. Let's say you're at 21,000 feet and you need to lose 20. Multiply 20 times 3 and you get 60. You need 60 miles minimum to descend. He was at 28,000 feet and about 40 miles. He needed to have started that descent a long time back. He was faced with the situation of being too high. ATC was going to vector him into a descending box to get him down, but the TBM, by the data, started a very rapid descent. We don't know if the pilot decided to try to save it with a really fast ascent, or if there was a mechanical issue before the descent. It's easy to speculate. The plane appears to have broken up in the descent and crashed, killing both occupants. One interesting note, the NTSB is not traveling to the site of the crash for this one, citing COVID-19 concerns. So the local FSDO will be the boots on the ground. Also, one other note that I haven't seen any really talk about, when you lose communication on an IFR flight like this one, there are procedures for the pilot. They still fly the plane to the destination according to the routing they were given. Now that's a general description and I'm not going to get into specifics. So when the lawyer lost comms, he should have been flying the route. It's almost like they were asleep or something, which is why I and others immediately thought hypoxia. Regardless, he wasn't following the rules and procedures prior to the accident, and we'll get into that in a moment. Now, some might say he was a professional lawyer, but certainly wasn't a professional pilot. And I've seen that on the internet and from some people who I respect. And maybe they feel you have no business flying a TBM unless you're commercially rated. Now, I'm not sure about that. But what I am sure of is that when you step into a higher power, higher performing, much more complex aircraft, you certainly need to step up your game and make sure you're current. Did he have the required number of takeoff landings to be able to even carry a passenger in the last 90 days? Not according to the TBM's flight logs, but maybe he had another plane he trained in. Was he IFR current? You need 6 approaches and a hold in the prior 6 months. I don't know if he did it somewhere else, but the TBM wasn't used for it. And taking another pilot with you, if you only fly a few hours a year in a plane like this, would make good sense. Taking another pilot when you're not current is mandatory, which leads us to what I really want to talk about, the psychology and what I can take from it and you can take from it to make you a better pilot and a better person. I have a friend that's a CEO of a major corporation. He loves to fly, and he has over 200 or 300 hours, but has never gotten his private certificate. He owns a Cirrus and a King Air, and I asked him if he's ever going to get his certificate, and his answer was an incredibly wise one. No wonder he's a CEO. He said, knowing himself, it would not be a good idea for him to be the only pilot on the plane, ever. He can still fly, but hire a pilot to be the PIC. He knew his limitations, and not just skill-wise, but ego-wise. In pilot training, we are taught dysfunctional and sometimes deadly attitudes. The anti-authority, the get-there-itis, invincible, and all those. And here's where I can become better. I have to constantly be honest with myself, discover and know my own ego trends, and to kill them daily, on every flight. And if I think I'm Superman and I need to tell myself that I can die, that I can easily put myself into a situation I can't get myself out of, I know I'm impatient and will blow through checklists without really verifying. So I take a breath, slow down. Sometimes I'm Han Solo and the best fly by the seat of my pants pilot, at least in my own mind. But that's a dangerous thought that can kill. So I remind myself that not only can I die, but I can kill others by my cavalier imaginations. And sometimes I think close is good enough. And I have to really focus on being precise because flying airplanes requires it. And I have to reset my mind. So there, you have some honesty from me. Things I have to look out for in myself. What about you? I know one pilot who's big on aviation safety, but has a distinct anti-authority streak. That almost resulted in a collision at one airport. And I hope this pilot can be honest with themselves. But you know what that would require? Humility. Probably one of the toughest character traits for a Type A pilot to find. But this lack of humility is killing people and destroying property and jacking up insurance rates. Yes, I want us to train to be safer pilots, learn and use the AQP method, and work on pilot skills that can actually save your life. But I also strongly encourage you first, get the right attitude, a humble, learning attitude, because then you'll be open to AQP and open to the training. And if you tell me that you're self-aware, that you know all your weaknesses, I'm going to be sad for you, and probably throw up in my mouth a little, because you're saying you've arrived and there's nothing left to learn or behaviors to change. And friend, every single person on this planet has behaviors that need to change. That laundry list of my own ego issues I mentioned a few minutes ago, well, the sad news is it's not complete and I don't know them all. I know another pilot that's so worried about what people think of them and so needy for affirmation that when they had a self-induced emergency, they told everyone, but they left off the self-induced part. Sure, that pilot's ego got lots of strokes for handling the emergency because people didn't know the pilot had caused it. But this is dysfunctional. Not only was an incredible learning experience taken away from that pilot's audience, but the pilot themselves lost the chance to see what freedom and true encouragement comes from transparency and honesty rather than fraudulent praise. Humility, truth, it will set you free. A new mindset. Then let the training begin. I thought about situations like the Vegas Bravo Buster and how he's the anathema to the aviation community. Look, I've messed up before, and I've been an ass, and if that moment was made public, most of you would hate me too. So I think about what that guy could do now. He's not asking my advice, but what if he did? Here's what I would tell him. Humility and transparency. It's not too late. Come clean. Don't try to defend bad behavior, putting lipstick on a pig. Just own it. Don't do it anymore. Lean into what you did wrong so others can learn, because from one narcissist to another, defending bad behavior is all about me. Using my mistake as a learning opportunity, that's about others, not me. Boom. Take that, my narcissist side. What if he came out and told everyone, hey, look, I was a complete and total jerk. I expected to be kowtowed to, and I pitched a fit like a baby when I didn't get my way. I realized this in me, and I don't like it. I want to change, so I'm going to do this, this, and this going forward. This kind of attitude can not only get me killed, but others as well when I think I should always just get my way. If he took that position, it'd be a game changer. Humility, a new mindset. Well, that's the aviation news and my rant about it. I did get a little preachy, and I hope that was okay. Don't like it? Well, tell me below. Do like it? Chime in too. I'm not just a glutton for punishment. I'll leave you with a new Flying Eyes commercial we've done, and remember, superior judgment, getting the mind right, can avoid having to use superior skills in an emergency. Take care. Hey everyone, Dan Milliken here. Christy and I get approached all the time for people that want us to showcase their product on our channel. Well, we don't do that very much. You hear about our sponsors like Wingfield Aviation and Flying Eyes, and it's because we love the products, we use the products. As a matter of fact, Christy bought Flying Eyes before we were ever approached to sponsor them or talk about them. It's a product, it's easy for us to sponsor because we love them, we believe in them. This is my pair of aviators. Look at this, incredibly thin and flexible. Also, the lenses come safety rated, and best of all for me is these are prescription and prescription progressive. Growing old sucks. Well, at least it doesn't last long. So anyway, I hope you will order some Flying Eyes, and if you do, you won't regret it. We love them. Hey, they've got the new Kestrel designs coming out. You can go pre-order them now. They look great. They are great. Go buy some Flying Eyes.